Hi, I'm attorney Siobhan Olivero, and today we're going to talk about how to survive this quarantine with your spouse if you're considering divorce. Tips and tricks to minimize conflict during quarantine or any other time that you may not be able to get away. Now that we've been in a longer term quarantine and still have probably at least another 30 days to go, you may be experiencing stress in your relationship, especially your marital relationship. Before being ordered to stay at home, you may have already decided to divorce, even started the process, but have not yet separated. Or you may find that this confinement may bring on the last straw where you finally say, I want a divorce. Many family law experts predict a spike in divorce filings after the quarantine ends, which occurred in China. If you are already unhappy and considering divorce, you may find that the sadness, anger, irritability, anxiety, and confusion feel intensified during this time because of the confinement with your spouse. People in difficult marriages already can feel trapped. They may want to escape the struggle with the stress of uncertainty about the future, and they feel lonely. And these feelings only get stronger now that you're stuck at home and don't feel like you can yet get away. So how can you survive the quarantine being confined with your spouse if you are considering or even already in the process of a divorce? And how can you make these times at least tolerable and less stressful? Well, we're going to provide some tips to help you get through it. The tips we're going to provide can help make the time less stressful. And actually, if you're considering divorce but still aren't sure if it's the right decision for you yet, these tips may be able to help make that decision for you. They may repair your marriage and your relationship, or they may help you determine that divorce is the right thing to do. So first, find ways to manage your time and yourself for you personally. Different personality styles cope in different ways. It's important to know how your personality style and how you manage time for yourself are best. Whatever your personality style, introverted or extroverted, it's important to take time for yourself and spend time doing something that you enjoy. Make this time alone time, and also, still through social distancing measures, make sure you include some social time with friends and associates that you enjoy spending time with. So take the time for yourself. And in spending some time for yourself, you can use some time to read, you can listen to music, take walks, focus on your hobby or something that you've always wanted to do. You can take a bubble bath, you can journal, or you can meditate. You can make something, you can bake, build, sew, garden, art, music, anything at all that you enjoy, but just do something that makes you feel good, something that replenishes you, and something that gives you a sense and feeling of accomplishment. And don't stop socializing. Humans are naturally social beings, and even if you're introverted, we have a need for connection. You can find ways to take care of yourself by setting up phone calls. You can do Zoom or any other video meetings. You can do them weekly with family, friends, associates. You can have the meetings virtually with your staff or your team, but spend this time with people virtually that you enjoy being around. You can have a virtual lunch, dinner, maybe a glass of wine with your family or friends. You can attend virtual networking meetings for business, but make an effort and reach out to that family member or friend that you've been meaning to reach out to and catch up with them. Limit your exposure to the news. Overexposure or constant exposure to the news and situation of the pandemic that we're currently in is not good for your mental health. It causes additional stress and anxiety. If you have news channels on your social media news feeds, consider pausing them in your news feed for 30 days and only watch the news 1, maybe 2 times per day for a very limited time at the time that you choose. Turn it off all other times. Get outside. Take a walk, go for a bike ride, do something outside. You can do this alone, or if you want, you can do it together and spend that time with your spouse. Maybe have days that you do it alone and days that you do it together. You can always set up a virtual walking date with a friend also, talk on the phone or video chat with them while you walk. Next, find ways to cope with your spouse and the time with them. You can't spend all your time alone on the phone with family, friends, in virtual meetings with associates all the time. You're going to have to spend time with your spouse, especially if you have kids. You are living together and you're confined during this quarantine. You are going to spend time together and you're going to see your spouse. So here are some tips for dealing with your time, communication, and your relationship with your spouse. Even in a time where there isn't a pandemic or stay-at-home orders in place, these tips are useful and are tips that can be used anytime. Maybe you're considering divorce and you haven't yet made that decision or separated. These tips can be used to help you make the decision if separation and divorce is right for you. It may repair your relationship or show you that divorce is the right decision. So here are some tips to help manage with your spouse. First, have structure. Structure is important. Part of the structure you had before the quarantine was a schedule. One or both of you worked. So create a schedule. Include specific hours, time for exercise, school for your children, and your alone time. If you and your spouse are not getting along and you're constantly fighting or arguing, create a schedule that minimizes your contact with each other. You can take turns dealing with the children, cooking meals, doing household chores, but schedule the time that you need for those activities and schedule the time you need for the virtual socializing appointments with your friends and family members. If you are getting along and you can create some peace or at least some non-argumentative times, perhaps you can work together on those chores like the cooking, the laundry, and taking care of the pets and helping the kids with schoolwork. Next, give each other space. Not only should you have time for yourself, as we've just talked about, but make sure that you each have your own separate space that you can go to for your alone time, for your me time, and when you're working. Even if you're getting along well, take your time alone and use your space. If you're in conflict, having that privacy in a separate space is even more important. As I mentioned, make room for separate workspaces. Don't work in the same space together. If possible, have dedicated separate workspaces for you when you're working from home. Develop, enhance, and strengthen your compassion. If you find yourself arguing with your spouse, just stop. Focus your emotions on showing compassion for your spouse and for yourself and what you're going through, whether it's quarantine under this pandemic or some other situation. Being together when times are tough is stressful for both of you. If you can control and stop the arguing, it will make it easier. Next, communicate. Use this time to build better communication skills. Whether you divorce or not, this is going to be a valuable investment in your relationship in the future. Be empathetic. Don't name call, don't shame or demean your spouse. Give them grace, and give grace to your spouse if they mess up and if they have an outburst. Listen. Develop, enhance, and strengthen your listening skills. Communication is not just talking. Usually, listening is more important than speaking. And listening is also a part of communication. There's an old saying that you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, because listening is more important than speaking. Listening means to really listen, not listening and preparing your response, not listening and thinking about the next thing that you need to say. That's not listening. Effective listening is a skill. Reflective listening and active listening are 2 of the most important skills that a person can develop. Research how to be an effective listener, how to enhance your listening skills, and how to be a reflective and active listener. And then listen. Be empathetic, listen without judgment. Again, don't minimize or demean your spouse's feelings. Avoid complaining about your spouse. Avoid blaming and avoid criticism. Deal with the conflict by problem solving. Stay respectful and say what you need and what you want. And at the same time, respect the other person's wants and needs without criticism, rejection, minimization, or demeaning them. Next, find ways to reconnect. If you can, have date nights. You can use this time to spend quality time together. Find things that you enjoy doing or things that you used to enjoy together and do them. Play games, play cards, watch movies, do a puzzle, play or listen to music, dance around your living room, cook a meal together, read a book together. If we're not in social distancing and if you can go outdoors or go to a park, then go on a hike, play tennis, play golf, what other outdoor activity you both enjoy together. And don't forget to include your kids in some of those activities if you have children. Next, don't make assumptions. We all make assumptions and fill in blanks with our imaginations, and most often, we're wrong. Don't assume something is bothering your spouse, and don't assume that you know what it is. You are probably wrong. Instead, work on those communication and listening skills and ask your spouse. Next is apologize. Simply say, I'm sorry. Don't let frustrations, hurts, anger, and emotions build up. Address them quickly and say, I'm sorry. As soon as you realize that you made a mistake, reacted emotionally, or said something you shouldn't have, say, I'm sorry. Apologizing can often diffuse bigger arguments. In addition, use I statements. When you want to discuss something with your spouse, it's important to discuss and complain, again, without blame. Use the Soften Startup template that's developed by internationally recognized relationship experts, Drs. John and Julie Gottman, using I statements. I feel blank and I need blank. And you fill in those blanks. Share what you're feeling and what you need with I statements, owning your feelings. You statements often lead the conversation down the wrong path and quickly provoke defensiveness from the other person. Focus on positives. Be positive and focus on good things about your spouse and tell them. Tell them what you admire about them. Tell them what you appreciate about them. Share a good memory that you have with them. Share with them things you're grateful for, not just about them, but in your whole life, about your kids, your family, your job, your home, your health. Showing and sharing gratitude will minimize stress and conflict and will make you feel positive and happy. Use these tips and tricks to help minimize stress, anxiety, and arguments with your spouse. If these things don't work, then maybe the best thing you can do is to get through this with as little conflict as possible. When you are able, you can pursue a separation or divorce if that is your choice. If you have any questions, we are always here to help.